Hello, my name is Brooke McNeal, and this is my presentation for Module 8, Maintaining Homeostasis. The heart is responsible for pumping blood throughout the body. The rate the heart pumps is controlled by the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems. Reacting to any internal or external elements can cause a change in homeostasis. The arteries are responsible for carrying the oxygen-rich blood and nutrients to the tissue and cells throughout the body. The veins are responsible for carrying away waste from the cells and tissues to be eliminated from areas like the lungs or kidneys. The blood tissues will constrict or dilate depending on what is detected by the sensors throughout the body. All of this plays a role in maintaining homeostasis. When there is an imbalance, like an increase in core temperature, the vessels will dilate to allow more blood to pass through to cool the body by releasing excess heat. Also, by removing the waste from the body aids in maintaining homeostasis. There are two ways the respiratory system aids in maintaining homeostasis. The first is through gas exchange. This is when there is an exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide across the respiratory membrane between the air in the alveoli and the blood of the pulmonary capillaries. The lungs are responsible for taking oxygen that the blood transports and delivers throughout the body, bringing back carbon dioxide to be exhaled. The amount of carbon dioxide in the body will affect the second way the respiratory system maintains homeostasis, which is the blood pH. When carbon dioxide encounters water, it creates carbonic acid. The lungs control how much carbon dioxide is in the body, therefore controlling the carbonic acid levels. Those levels fluctuate depending on how much carbon dioxide is generated. If the levels of carbon dioxide are higher, the respiratory rate will increase as well. If the carbon dioxide levels are lower, the respiratory rate will decrease. The kidneys are an important organ when it comes to the function in the body. They are responsible for producing hormones, absorbing materials, and filtering blood to produce urine. The kidneys control the amount of water, ions, and other substances that are in the blood by excreting more or less of them into the urine. The kidneys work together with the circulatory system and the urinary system to filter the blood and remove waste through urination. The kidneys also secrete hormones in order to maintain homeostasis. Examples of the hormones are erythropoietin and renin. The endocrine system is a regulatory system that uses the hormones that it produces to send signals throughout the body. The hormones travel through the bloodstream to control the actions of the cells and organs. Some of those hormones is the thyroid hormone, adrenaline, cortisol, estrogen, testosterone, insulin, and glucagon. The endocrine system uses negative feedback mechanisms to maintain homeostasis. An example of this would be regulating blood glucose levels. The regulation is controlled by insulin and glucagon. When the blood glucose increases, insulin is released to keep the glucose levels from getting too high. When the blood glucose decreases, glucagon is released to keep the glucose levels from getting too low. The gastrointestinal system or digestive system works in the background when it comes to maintaining homeostasis. It is responsible for providing nutrients to the body to maintain the functions of all other systems. By breaking down the food we ingest, the digestive system is able to provide the body with proteins, carbohydrates, vitamins, fats, and minerals. One of the reasons it can be considered a system that works in the background would be by the way it aids in the immune homeostasis. When we think of gastrointestinal system, we may not always think of the immune homeostasis. The bacteria in the gut is the local immunity in the intestines. Within the intestines, there are CD4 plus T cells that are part of the adaptive immune system. The digestive system helps regulate and balance the amount of T cell subtypes in the body. The blood maintains homeostasis by stabilizing the pH, temperature, and osmotic pressure. It also is responsible for the distribution of nutrients and waste removal. The red blood cells carry the waste either to the kidneys or lungs to be expelled. When the body heats up, the vessels will dilate, and the blood is able to flow closer to the surface, carrying away the heat. The lymphatic system is responsible for regulating fluid buildup within the cells and fights infections. Antigens are created in the body to prevent us from getting sick and maintaining homeostasis. The immune system aids in maintaining homeostasis by fighting back infections, helping to heal the locations that have been damaged by infection or trauma, will cause the body to develop a fever during an infection, and increase the blood flow to the infection site so oxygen and immune cells can get to the site quickly. The endocrine system uses the cardiovascular system to secrete and transport hormones throughout the body. The endocrine system activates the stretch-sensitive ion channels within the cardiac muscle cells that secrete the hormone adrenonucleotide peptide, ANP. ANP targets the smooth muscle lining in the blood vessels and the tubules of the kidneys. The ANP triggers the smooth muscle cells in the blood vessels to relax, causing vasodilation. It also targets the kidneys to increase the excretion of sodium cells. That is called natriuresis. The endocrine system secretes the hormones that it produces directly into the venous blood. From the venous blood and through the process of pulmonary circulation, it is immediately delivered to the lungs. From the lungs, the hormones are circulated to the rest of the body. The respiratory system functions influence the levels of hormones that travel throughout the body. The kidneys help and play a role when it comes to the endocrine system. The kidneys are responsible for secreting the hormone erythropoietin, EPO, which is a response to a decreased level of oxygen in the blood. The kidneys also secrete renin. Renin is an enzyme in the blood that converts the plasma protein angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. Lastly, vitamin D is converted to its active form when it arrives at the kidneys. The endocrine system and the brain work together to control the systems of the digestive process. It starts with the response to food. When we see, smell, or think of food, it can trigger the salivary glands to secrete saliva in preparation for digestion. At the same time, the stomach begins to produce hydrochloric acid to digest food. When the stomach is full, the brain will detect satiety. The hormones responses that occur during the gastric phase of digestion, the hormone gastrin, is secreted by G cells in the stomach when there is a presence of proteins. When the stomach is empty, somatostatin is used to stop the release of hydrochloric acid. In order to neutralize the acidic chyme, the hormone secretin stimulates the pancreas to produce an alkaline bicarbonate solution and deliver it to the duodenum. Along with secretin, chlorothiazide is used to stimulate the pancreas and gallbladder to release bile into the duodenum. The blood is responsible for transporting the hormones that are produced from the endocrine system to different parts of the body. The lymphatic system removes any excess fluid from the cells or tissue of the body and brings it back to the bloodstream to be removed. The endocrine function of the integumentary system is to regulate and produce hormones. The hormones are insulin-like growth factor 1. It is produced in the dermis and is responsible for the growth and maintenance of hair. Then there is the melanocyte-stimulating hormone that is responsible for skin pigmentation and protection against the UV light. Vitamin D is synthesized through the actions of the UV light on the skin. Lastly, steroid hormones production is responsible for the production of hormones like androgen, estrogen, and glucagon. corticoids. The musculoskeletal system functions as an endocrine organ in that it secretes multiple factors. They are muscular-derived factors that are known as myokines. Myokines have a beneficial effect on peripheral and remote organs, as well as contribute to the functions of remote organs. The musculoskeletal system also influences the whole body's energy production. The last few slides are my references. Thank you very much.